then as now. Oh, the clink of champagne and the man he flayed. And then there's a section, it's in Spenserian stanzas. I don't know if you guys, does anybody know what a Spenserian stanza is? It's Spenser's form for the Fairy Queen. I'll just say that. So here's just 3 sections in Spenserian stanzas. 3 stanzas. Post-Operation Doomsday, pre-Mad Villain, he fell from a bus, his satchel spilling, a copy of Ulysses from some Granville shop. Lou Reed did the lad's discman, cracked open upon indigenous land. Mbaruk back, wed to his slave's disguise, and planning his revenge as if an Ithacan athwart the masters, entertaining lies, as pornographic letters etched in ancient times. Shuffle of addicts shoon under Vancouver towers. This is a second stanza. And shoon is the plural in early modern English for shoes. Shuffle of addicts shoon under Vancouver towers. Helicopters of the looming truth o'er the vague broom of Andrew's words. Count his letters, syllables in broadly hewn mountains o'er the riverine awe sound. The breathed rhyme, neath lines, untruth divided, the O, aka I. Though in a few mouths an ah supplanted commonly veiled I. 'Twas all the one ooh, the universal brime. So the breathed rhyme, brime. It's kind of like in Hinduism. Never mind. I'll just read the poem. Untruth behind the mask of all we see, where through hopper puffeth oxygen. In the hitchhiker's riding back to the sea, and in the effects of such a bag, in the bag of such a citizen, in the thumb upvotingly lit to the sun, in perilous travail o'er its idiot mind, in the gulls of East Van circling, in a tongue, the very vacuum knoweth, sniffs and sighs, the careless path of stones through astral space, in I. That I is also the ooh and the ah, and so on, and that's the universal brine. You guys dig? You guys dig? Here's another section of that section. Personal pronominal, the flow of his overlong poem, an open eye, spoken by the poet, I. Oceanography, our flow onto the beach, the first dry, gasping breaths, words defining landedness first, and finally the savages. We wait, black, neath the waves. Earth sign, the black mass earthifying the land at last. Workers unite. Turn, twist, and tangle round their pattern, a grid, and curve right, and back to the left. Serpentine, and asps angles. Das Kapital, the rainbow, our black poet prayed to. And angles. Green life, on earth growing, green dinosaurs, poet kings, alive to the word, a roaring ringing, o'er the beginning, a noble thing. The green vowel, be natural. An uncareless thunder clarionet's dinosaurian word, the deep mind absorbed of the certainty, sans the sense, no hypothesis the word wouldn't win, in green whiles the world spinneth its puce apocalypse. Puce is the official color of Slavespeare. Above thorny green stems, outwardly screaming, these flowers of evil, as Gloucester's letters from Maximus, found and reused, now kept in a vase by the bed, aloud, a communistic red. A rose steam, the breathed rhyme, broom, of Slavespearean verse, prowling the streets and nuzzling the buildings, penetrating all, breathing within things their hidden meaning, the meaning of the breathed rhyme, breathed rhyme. That streets, buildings, all words were one differently expressed breath. Here they're all, they're the I of all things. The meaning of brime, that the hound on his leash, his howl, and pounds commedia cantos, the bright ball of science world, and one white-hot light bulb, a lunary crescent hanging in the vault, and this putrescent mango in the Moloch, the government's proud facade, and those humps of mountainous rock, all were modes of the one I, Spinoza. The brine, one infinite I monadic, the I we must allow the slave to wield. Let him string thy bow, sir, that the Geist be still wholer, less white and bolder. The skin split, a struggling rose, the broken flesh. Remember, the official color of Slavespeare is puce. The skin split, a struggling rose, the broken flesh. Live the whip, both ends, in one poem, Slavespeare. This Mbaruk's passages, his whip-scarred back, I guess, if, as Fanon averreth, to cast out thy spirit, to project, be t'existe pour l'autre, the mythical poem, thy servant, Bilke whip, thou hold'st in words. And then there's a time travel passage. Slavespeare is a character in the poem. He travels through time. He's a time-traveling sex tourist, in fact. And there's some basic facts, though, about the one-breathed rhyme that relate directly to the labor theory of value. And I'm going to get to that. Indeed, rhyme windoweth the truth of things, Free William sang, discovering interlocked the fluttering wings of a gypsy moth, and the ink a scrivener bought at the printer's shop. The long-horned green grasshoppers bond with a lorry crashed in Ottawa, seeing the dream thou hast yesterday, and the weevil's antennae together chained. I' the sound staged rain, this Kelly his song singeth, his labor power contained i' the breaths of his English, the steps of his wingtips. We measure labor power in breaths. The substance of exchange value is breath. Doubly the rain now wept, the umbrellaed atheist danced yet. Her brow sweat wet in labor, the slave worketh, breatheth into her commodity, her labor, her breath, her time, her labor brine. The master idle watching the slave at work, inhaling the reward, his purpose, the surplus. In the first words of the wee child, its breathed rhyme. Unite workers, rhyme. So that's my connection of the spirituality of the breathed rhyme, the poetics of Slavespeare, to the labor theory of value.
All right.
And like I said, I'm going to read a tiny thing from this book that's coming out like now. The Negro Tree, or Parliament Fudgedelic, a sketch show in verse. Very short poem. I'm going to read from this. Let me see if I can find it. It's called The Beach Boys. It's about the Beach Boys. And I think you can see the connection. There's in this Slavespeare nonsense. There's like a whole thing of like, I don't know if you've heard the breathed rhyme, the brine. It's like a vocal thing, a vocal conception of intrinsic value in God. So here we have the Beach Boys, which is, the Beach Boys, the great vocal group. Great vocal group of the white race, anyway. So check this out. The Beach Boys. Style over brains, the poem they convey, riding the waves, holding AKs. Our faithful congregation, as whales in a pod gaily singing, as Zizek long indolent, we reject competition. But it's one man per surfboard, the author's autograph, a blood-spattered church floor, and fallen comrades. Dig, I'm done.